Live an optimal life through health and wellness. Be well, get well, and stay well.
The story I wanted to share with you tonight isn't about teaching you, isn't about my typical science education training. What I wanted to share with you tonight was that when I got started with this company, I had no intention of doing this as a business. I didn't need that. It was not part of who I was. It was nowhere in my realm that this was going to be part of what I was doing. I got into it for a personal reason. I had some health challenges that were severe. I won't go into it at the moment, but I had a fairly...
There was only 3 in there. This is the only one that's got any juice. I threw the other 2 away.
Oh,
just letting you know in case you go to the store.
Somebody needs to mute. I think, Bob, maybe. There you go. Anyway.
You're good. You're good.
So I had some great things happen for me personally. I knew the science behind it. But for me personally, what really drove me to becoming part of what I was doing with this business had to do with a very good friend of mine. Her daughter was autistic. She also had a son with Asperger's. So 2 of her 5 children had severe issues. And I had worked with her for the last 5 or 6 years prior to learning about LifeVantage through lots of different things. And as a pharmacist and a doctor of pharmacy, pharmacology, and biochemistry with molecular background, all that I ever cared about was balancing cells. And when I took my oath as a pharmacist, this is what I had to do. I had my hand up in the air with a white jacket on that said, "First, do no harm." And I had real difficulties with what was being done with these kids. And I couldn't do it. I could no longer, and my illness and what happened with me was one thing, but I no longer could go in and do what I needed to do working with these special needs kids a lot of times because I did not feel like I was holding up my end of the bargain. I didn't think I was not doing any harm. And there were points when they needed what they needed. In Arlene's case and her daughter, Adrienne, she was in one of those circumstances. We had worked with her, did a lot of things with nutrients, and we had had fairly decent success. She was nonverbal. At the point in time that this story takes place, she had to be on some medications to be able to go to some of the daytime education programs, and she was in her early 20s. And what had happened from that point in time is one of the medications was causing such problems in her that she was having a straitjacket on with a helmet because she was pulling out of her hair and hurting herself so badly. They had to take shifts in their household through the night so that she wasn't hurting herself. And Child Protective Services was getting ready to take her because they were not allowing some of the medications they wanted to put her on. I had not seen her in a little while, but for some reason, her name kept coming up in my mind. And we know the reason, because that's where we're driven to where we're needed. And when I called her, she said, "I don't know what you are going to talk to me about, but I'm standing in the backyard yelling at God. Please come over here." And I did. And as soon as I saw what was going on and I saw what medication she was on, no doctors, nobody in the healthcare profession put the 2 together, that what she was doing hurt her stomach so badly that she couldn't eat. It was so painful. And yet every time she tried to eat, it would just be so excruciating. That's why she was hurting herself, because she couldn't communicate that. Now, I didn't know what NRF2 activation was going to do, but I knew it wasn't going to hurt her. I knew the dosage would be okay. And my goal was to get her off a medication that typically would take 3 months to wean somebody off, was to get her off that as fast as possible. And that science, I knew enough because I had done this over and over with many children, not with NRF2, but through other means. And I thought, let's give it a try. And I'm here to tell you that 4 days later, that helmet and straitjacket came off. All right. And I'm not going to tell you that this treats, mitigates, cures, prevents, or does anything. But what it did do was help her body activate enough to start having some semblance of normalcy. And we were able to get her off that medication in a record amount of time, which I believe was somewhere around 3 weeks, which is unheard of. I did work with the other professionals. But what happened through that day and that week and that month made me know and understand I now had a moral obligation. And that's what drove me to say, you know what, I have to look at this. There's a reason I'm here. And I have been part of this ever since, making lots of differences in lots of kids. And I'm so profoundly happy because you know what? The body is incredible when it receives things that it can start handling itself again and rebalancing. And when I'm going to first do no harm, I want it to be with the body being in control. And so that's why I'm so grateful when Kim called me and asked me to be on today. I said yes without hesitation, because it's so important. And I'm so grateful because the communication, and I'm here to tell you today, 5 years later, oh my goodness, I was on vacation. Now I'm going to start crying. I was on vacation a couple of weeks ago in Hawaii with some friends, and I got a text from her. Arlene had been playing Scrabble, and it was for the first time Adrienne had 5 words, and she said them all. And it's just incredible what's happening. The communication between the cells is happening because her body is having things happen. And I was laughing when Seth was trying to have the hookup with the recording and all that, and how we couldn't hear him. That was a communication, wasn't it? Not much different than what they go through. It's in there, and you want to get it across. And that's what they go through. And so I just want to say thank you for inviting me today, and I hope that was helpful.
But I'm going to ask a couple of things. Number one is to search and to scour, right? To filter and to open up your ears, because this is happening every single day in around the world. The numbers of I don't want to say diagnoses, but we'll just say visibility of symptoms on the spectrum, can I say it that way, is just skyrocketing. What I felt most poignantly tonight is how personal it is, how very, very personal it is. We can throw statistics, we can talk about products and protocols, but at the end of the day, this is very, very personal. I think, Eileen, your daughter said it the best.
Thanks for watching. And remember, one change can have an enormous effect. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell and the like, and we'll see you next time on Love to Live.